All right, so after we drove the quad around, we discharged the battery to sitting at idle. It was about 42%. You can see there. Speed controller did okay when it came to temperature. Didn't get too hot. Capacitors were pretty hot, but they're rated for that. The batteries kind of got to 98, 100 degrees. Didn't really get above that. That's kind of what they were stuck at for most of the time, as the outside temperature was probably very close to that anyways. So they didn't really get stressed at all with this drive, especially since we were only driving at about 8 miles an hour with the speed controller. So our motor, I'll share with you the temperature of the motor. The motor got fairly hot, probably a little too warm when it comes to series wound motors. This motor isn't a cooled motor at all. It doesn't have a fan or anything cooling this motor, just other than outside air temperature. So try to get my thermal probe stuck inside the motor here. So bear with me. So I think these motors, basically the rule of thumb with a series motor, series wound DC motor, is if you can't touch it, it's too hot. And it was pretty much too hot to touch for long, over 10 seconds or so. It got pretty much too hot to touch. So the temperature kind of got up to about 180 degrees-ish, which is a little too warm for them. I think 150-ish degrees Fahrenheit is a decent temperature, if I remember correctly. So it got a little warm. Then again, I did drive it for almost 2 hours straight, so I don't know what my current was that I was pushing into here, waiting on my clamp meter, my DC clamp meter, to be able to measure what the speed controller does. The speed controller is quite a bit underpowered, but we'll kind of see what it does once we get a clamp meter. So I'm just going to stick a fan on the motor, and that was the distance run. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll show you a few of the screenshots I took while we were out and about, and the final distance we went on this 2 kilowatt hours of battery. So here you can see my map, the distance I went, and right here you can see the final duration and my final distance. I went about 15 miles in total, but right at 50%, which was where the battery was at 50%, we were at about 11.5 miles. So 23 miles is our distance that we could go in theory on one charge. So basically that is 10 kilowatt hours per, that's 10 miles per kilowatt hour. So I don't know if that's good, don't know if that's bad, but that's what we went. Hope you enjoy the video. If you have any other questions, feel free to leave a comment, like this video, and subscribe to the YouTube channel to see some more.